Hey paper crafters, thank you so much for joining me today. I love that you took the time to pop by my channel, check out the video that I've got going, and hopefully stay and poke around a little bit. I'm really excited to be able to offer some videos now and then and share my love of paper crafting. So I hope you find something that you enjoy and come back to see me another time. Bye-bye. Hey paper crafting friends, thanks for tuning in today. My video today is really going to focus on what exactly is Kiwi Lane. How does it make your scrapbooking a little easier? How does it make it flow? How does it contribute to ideas and creativity? I just really want to put that introduction out there. I know that sometimes people stumble upon my videos and they're like, not sure even what they're looking at. So I am going to start kind of at square one, and I'll share my journey along the way. I was introduced to Kiwi Lane years ago at a scrapbook expo. Stumbled upon a booth, looked interesting, started talking to the folks that were running the booth, and I was like, what is this? Tell me about it. And the first thing that they explained to me was a little bit about the borders. Okay, so this is an example of one of the Kiwi Lane borders, and this set is called Paisley Place. It is my favorite, my very, very favorite. So anybody who plays with Kiwi Lane with me would tell you that. It's kind of a joke at this point. Borders come in sets of 6 pieces, okay? So what they are is little matching sets. This is Paisley Place 1A, and it has a partner 1B. Okay, then there's 2A and 2B. So let me grab those. Okay, 2A, 2B, 3A, and 3B. So you can see how nicely these nest together. And that's because that makes it really easy to cut your pieces and create those really fun flowing borders with whatever paper you happen to have, okay? Today I'm modeling just on this deep blue background just because the templates show up really well on it. Hopefully by the time we're done, I'll show you a little bit about how I choose paper and that. So let's first start here. So I've got these borders, and what I used to find is when I was going to sit down to scrapbook, I would often just stare at my 2 background pages and be a little stuck. I'd kind of throw my photos on and move them around, and I often didn't have much inspiration for how to fill in the rest of the page, okay? The borders for me changed everything because I can grab literally any of our border sets. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. Sometimes I'm in the mood to play with a certain one, but sometimes I'm not, and it just depends. You know, I grab whatever I feel like on a certain day, okay? The idea with the borders is that you can take, and I'm just going to grab one to start with, you can take any border set and you can just start to create a layout. So maybe I want something to go across the top, okay? And I know that I have room to do something nice and big like this. When I create this, it gives me a space. I could put like a title on here if I want. But all of a sudden I've got some flowing design, okay? That's a great way to start. The coolest thing about these is you can put them anywhere you want on your page. Maybe you want them at the top. Maybe you want them at the bottom. Maybe you want to do something cool on the sides, okay? So I can easily just grab these and scoot them around. That's why we call it play to create. I move my borders all over the place before I decide what I like. People talk to me all the time about the layouts I design. It's not that some great layout just comes to my mind. I play until I see something that looks good to me, okay? And it's different all the time. So say I wanted to go with this. I've got these little skinny borders here, and then I've got the chunkier border here. To create this, I'm going to need probably 2 different pieces of pattern paper, okay? And I'll talk more about that in a minute. This is your basic. And when I first started with Kiwi Lane, all I used was the borders, okay? That was enough. All of a sudden I was like, great, I can use some fun pattern paper. I had this huge stash of paper. I still do, but I use it now. I run to those papers, and sometimes the busier, the better. Because if you've got a pretty tame or slightly textured background, all of a sudden you can pull in whatever fun, bright, crazy prints you want for this part and just run with it, okay? One of our sets of templates are these photos. And first I thought, well, that's stupid, I have photos. But now I use these to design. And I do have my photos often nearby, but these help me see kind of what spacing I want to use, okay? Maybe I know I've got a really big picture that I want to fit in, like a 5x7, okay? So I can pull out a 5x7 template and play with that. Okay. Maybe I don't have a big 5x7, but I like the look of color blocking, and I want to use that 5x7 anyway, and I'm going to put a couple of little guys on it. Okay. But it allows me to just start playing, that playing to create. Okay. Maybe a 4x6 is going to look great there. Okay. And I just start looking at the spaces that I've created, going back and forth to my photos. I'm thinking maybe I could do a couple of 4x4s here, side by side. Yeah, that works. It doesn't matter if you overlap your border a little bit, or maybe you don't want to overlap it. Maybe you want to tuck it under, okay? But you have all of that flexibility and choice. And maybe down here, I want to do a 4x6, you know, just straight up and down. Or maybe I want to do one sideways. Or maybe instead I want a 4x5, okay? Whatever it is that you decide you want, go for it, okay? But the photo mats actually do make it kind of nice to lay everything out and see what you're dealing with. As I spent more time in Kiwi Lane, I started to realize that there were other pieces that would allow me to give my layouts a little bit more personality, and not put me in a position where I was buying specialized embellishments for every page, okay? I used to have pages and pages and pages of stickers, pages and pages and pages of alphabets. I don't have all of that anymore. I have my templates, I have paper, I have lots of paper, but most of the time I can find something that's gonna go with that personality of the page, and create it with the paper and then a little bit of template accent, okay? One of the very first template sets that I bought, besides a couple of borders, was brackets. And I've got the large, we have one called large brackets that's really big. Those are like 12-inch. We have another set of brackets that are like 6 to 8 inches. And then we have tiny brackets. It's really a personal preference, and I use them different ways. But I honestly use the most. I use them on cards, I use them on layouts. But these brackets are great to journal on. They're really fun to just add a little pop of color. Okay, you might grab something like this and just pop it over here at the side, okay? You might do something where it's coming in up at the top and covering up just kind of the edge of a photo. Lots and lots of flexibility with these that you could really use anywhere. So for the case of this example, I'm gonna go ahead and just grab one. I've got this big space here. So I think right now I'm just gonna kind of stick this one over here, and we'll see what I end up deciding to do with it. If this was a layout that was something where I might want to decorate it with flowers, I can always grab a set like springtime, okay? And there's lots of different things in here. There's a really fun butterfly. Maybe you're gonna cut that. There's these great little banners. There's little journaling spaces that could be used lots of different ways. Maybe I'm just gonna put something like that there. I've got these flowers. Now I'm looking at this going, I don't want that bracket there. I haven't cut anything yet, so it makes no difference, right? So maybe I wanna layer these couple of flowers there instead. Maybe I do still want the bracket, but maybe I'm going to move it back over here where I had it. Okay. So many choices in such a quick way. Another one that I use pretty often is this accents set. And the accents to me feels youthful, playful. Sometimes I'll use it on more masculine layouts. This gear to me feels, I don't know, just like it goes with anything. So I might, instead of layering flowers, you know, maybe this is my kids playing or my grandkids. Maybe it's a Father's Day layout. Okay, so now I'm layering something like that instead, probably getting rid of some of these little floofy corners and pulling in something different there. Okay, maybe I want a star that I'm going to pull in, or this one looks like slime to me. Okay, so you've all of a sudden, you start taking off those things that feel a little bit more feminine, and you can do some swapping out really easily and create a whole different feel. So this is just me quickly on the fly making some changes, but I wanted to give you an idea of what Kiwi Lane is and what you can do with these templates and why, you know, why you would want to play with them. So, all right. The other thing, I'm going to go back to these flowers just because of the paper that I pulled out to show you. So let me bounce this back real quick to at least similar to what I had it. So I tend to get my layout designed something like this before I start to cut any paper. Sometimes it's even before I start to choose paper, okay, but not always. So sometimes I've already got some paper picked out that I have in mind for the pictures, and then I'm able to just kind of go. Other times I am just creating on the fly. I don't even have pictures in mind. I just feel like playing with paper, and I'll sit down and create a layout. So say this is what I've decided. This is how my layout's going to go today. One of the things that I like to do is make paper kits in advance. I actually sell these at events because they're a really easy way for people to just kind of look and grab a few things that coordinate without having to get into their own stash and papers and that. Okay, so this is an example of what I might put together just for a quick demo for somebody. Okay, now this one is not going to have enough to be photo mats, but it's got enough to do some borders and some accent pieces. Okay, so in this example, the background pages would be this light blue. Okay, and then I've got two different solids here that are great for the borders. So I would pick which one of these I want to use with the fatter border and which one I want to use with the skinnier border. It's totally personal choice. In this case, I would probably use this with the fatter border and this with the skinnier border because I want a little bit of this left over for some other accenting. Okay, so I just start laying my pieces out and doing that cutting. Okay, just a quick, I'm not going to go through all of this, but I do want to show you, if you're brand new to Kiwi Lane, when you go to cut this border, you're just going to line the edge right up against the edge of your paper, trace this with a pencil, okay, grab your other piece, that companion piece, right, the matching set. You don't need to trace the curve again because it matches perfectly, but you want to do a little notch right here so that you can do a straight trimmer cut. Okay, so you've got your trimmer cut done. You can pull this aside, do your scissor cut, and now you've got your two pieces that you can put on your layout just like you had designed it. Okay, same thing with this other piece. Most of the time, I just keep going like that. I make my paper choices and I roll with it. Okay, so I usually will use a couple of different choices if I'm doing two different borders. I'll find some kind of a small coordinating strip that I can use to kind of cover up the space between those borders, you know, kind of where they match. And then I've got a couple of coordinating colors to do these other little accents. So in this case, those coordinating pieces would come from what I have left of this pink when I'm done cutting the small border. And then I could pull in some of this red and some of this turquoise, and those pops on there are going to be beautiful. Okay, so you can see what I really did was pull this paper first, and this was the driving force for everything else that I chose. I'm not going to use a bunch of different paper choices that are as loud as this, but one or two on a layout is going to be great. And you just find the craziest one and pull everything else based on what you're pulling, what colors you can pull out of this. Okay, comes together so fast, you guys. I know after watching this, you may have other questions, and I'm happy to do follow-up videos or even to have just one-on-one conversations with you. So please feel free to reach out. I was just hoping to give you a quick overview of what Kiwi Lane is. If you haven't really had a chance to dive in, check in my description box if you need a link or you want to check out the shop. Everything's there for you. And again, comments are always welcome. I would be happy to hear what you think or answer any questions that you have. So thanks for taking the time with me today, and I hope to see you on my channel again soon. Bye-bye.